Ani, thank you so much for joining me today.
I love being here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to chatting to you. So we're going to dive straight in, Ani, with the first question, which is what's important to you?
I love this question because my whole passion is empowering people with kind of the knowledge that you never have to learn to live with pain.
Okay.
So doesn't matter what age you are, what you do, just never learn to live with pain. That's what's so important to me.
Okay. So there's a couple of things in that. So obviously the first thing in a sense of not living with pain. So tell me what you mean when you say not living with pain. Do you mean direct physical pain? Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes. Thanks
Okay.
for actually clarifying. Yes, physical pain. Um, people come to a certain age in your like 40s, 50s, 60s when things start creaking and you hear noises here and there. You're not as fast to get up or sit down or do the stuff that we used to do in our 20s and
Yeah.
30s. And you go to a doctor and they say, that's normal for your age. I just want to like, no, it's not.
Mm,
Don't ever take that as that's normal for my age or that's just how life is. I'm just, going to be in this pain. I just learn how to live with it.
mm.
And
Yeah.
that's what I do not like.
Okay. And that's interesting, I suppose. So where did this come from then? I'm interested to find out in a sense of because I can hear it and see it in you that it's, as soon as you were saying about a doctor saying, oh, you just have to, live with it. I could see the sort of almost frustration in you when that phrase. So where did this sort of passion to try and alleviate people in pain come from for you?
Well, a lot of times when I talk like this, people think it's from my personal journey, which a
Mm,
lot of times practitioners get into their career because of their personal journey.
mm,
That wasn't the case for me. I went to college back home. I got my bachelor's in kinesiology in former Soviet Union in Armenia, where
okay.
I also studied medical massage. But at the same time, I played volleyball for Armenian national team.
Wow.
So as being an athlete, you injure yourself. It's very common. I don't think there wasn't one athlete that never injured themselves.
Yep.
And we learn how to overcome it and get back into game. So when I came to America and I got into massage therapy, because I studied medical massage, which is part of mainstream medicine back home, and even now in Russia and some European countries, doctors can take medical massage as a continuing education.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the massage, oh, rub the body, foo-foo, whatever.
Yeah.
It has its place, but my passion is you're in pain, let's take care of it. What's the fastest way I can get you out of pain? And that's one of the reasons I don't like when the people say, are you pain management? And say, no, I do not like pain management. I
Mm,
either take care of your pain or I don't.
yeah.
I don't manage your pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
No, I love that. Thank you for going into that in sense of because the fact that it was something that you studied, so it's obviously from you've been doing this for a long time, and it has a real sort of obviously importance to you. The fact that you went and did this your degree, and I love the fact that it came in the fact that you were an athlete as well. Because it's a very different perspective when you've experienced it as yourself from that point of I suppose from that perspective it was you say getting you fit enough that you continue to play and get back onto the court. So is that where your initial sort of interest in that area of medical massage and kinesiology came because you were an athlete?
I think so because, I grew up in a family of engineers. Both my parents were engineers, and being the first child, they thought that I was going to follow their path.
Yeah.
And that was a struggle because I said, yeah, that's not happening. And they didn't want me to go to the college that I chose. But thankfully, my aunt, my dad's younger sister, took the same path. She was a volleyball player for Armenia national team. She went to the same college that I chose to go. And eventually, she actually ended up being one of my professors in college.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
I couldn't, I had to tell my parents, like, she did it. and I'm
Yes.
going to take that way.
Yeah.
That's just my path. It felt right.
Yeah. No, I love it. And so I'm interested then in sense of, because I love it when people I'm moved to Ireland. I'm not from Ireland. I love it in the sense of when people move around and how they get to where they get to. So you did the thing you did your studies in Armenia. You were playing for the volleyball, the national team, which is amazing. We'll come back to that in a second. But how did you then transition to the States? When did that happen, or how did that happen?
Oh, yeah, that's, I'm sure you're probably familiar with 1988. We had the huge earthquake in Armenia where we lost our home. We lived in our garage for 3 years. And in that time, a lot of my relatives, my dad originally is Egyptian Armenian, born and raised in Cairo. And then in the 60s, early 60s, they moved to Armenia. But a lot of our relatives were in America, in Canada, and they always was the whole thing that my dad wanted us to have the more opportunities that we could have back home.
Yeah.
So after earthquake, it goes like, that's it. We're going to America. And I'm so grateful because I think I was born to live in America.
Love it.
So, but we came right after college. We came in January 92. In this February, I turned 22. English was not one of the languages I learned. As
Yeah.
European countries, we learn several languages. Mine was Armenian, Russian, and French.
Yeah.
Even though in our house, my dad spoke 6 languages. But English, when we came here, I did not speak English. And that was hard. Being 22, not
Yeah.
speaking the language, the culture is day and night.
Yeah.
So my early 20s, it's a little kind of like a hazy. I don't recall
Yeah.
much because it was just a huge transition for me.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I love it.
Yeah. No, it's thank you for sharing that, because I think it's a really an important but powerful sort of thing to share, in a sense that sometimes the reasons people travel and the reason people move are not necessarily what people expect, and the fact that a sense of something that so unexpected happened, in a sense, to where you lived in your country, in a sense of was the thing that eventually made your father go, no, that's it, we're trying something different. And I love the fact that now that you are, I love the fact, the phrase I was born to live in America. I love that. We'll go back to the getting people out of pain and stuff in, but what do you mean by that phrase? Because I think it's a really lovely phrase to say.
I've always been, as a woman, I mean, Armenia, I love my people.
Yeah.
We've been around long, long time, but a lot of it is very male dominant country. And I've always been kind of a rebel. All my friends used to be guys. I played hockey, soccer, pretty much every sport. I didn't have any girlfriends. All my friends were guys, just a
Yeah.
tomboy hanging around, climbing rooftops and trees and running around. Like I said, all the guy sports. Even if we played house, I was the father of the house. I
Yeah.
would go to work and come home and dinner had to be ready, even though both my parents were working parents,
Yeah.
full-time working parents. But yeah, but I've always was outspoken. I was a bully to the bullies, especially if girls were bullied. I would beat up guys because I just thought, take care of yourself, be strong, don't let anyone push you around. And so when we came to America, I'm like, I'm outspoken, I love my independence.
Yeah.
And so this is like, yeah, I'm right at home. This is cool. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd say from I'm sure as well, the evidence is that the fact that you could literally go after whatever you wanted to go after, in a sense of like, if and eventually what you've done with your career and your life is you could build whatever you wanted to build in the States, maybe more so potentially than you could have done in Armenia.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So before we go into the business, I'd love to know again about like the volleyball, because I say I'd be into sort of sports and fitness, but I've never attempted to play volleyball at any level. The odd time on a beach maybe, but obviously you played for your national team. Tell me a little bit about that experience of playing, playing volleyball, but then playing for your national team.
It was it was amazing. We had a school, in my school, we had a teacher who loved volleyball, and he's the one who got us into it, got me interested. And, at my time, like, what's it, mid 70s, I guess late 70s, because I'm at 69. So mid 70s, late 70s. That's when, girls usually weren't into sports. Like the fathers, or if you had all the older brothers, they just like, oh yeah, you're not going to be wearing that bikini or short shorts to go and open your legs and play any sport. So very few girls were playing, but I'm so grateful because my family was more open-minded.
Yeah.
And then I was just good. Pretty much I played every type of sport, and I was just really good at it.
Yeah.
For Armenian, I was considered tall, even
Okay.
though I'm not that tall. I'm only
Yeah.
like 5'7".
Yep.
But I was considered tall, even though in our team, national team, we had a lot of Russian girls,
Yep.
and they were like 6 foot tall, 6'2", and there is Ani 5'7". So, but it was an amazing experience because
Yeah.
we traveled at the time, Soviet Union. Now they're all independent countries. I'm like, yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah, I've been there. It was
Yeah.
awesome, and it was just an amazing, I think, educational opportunity for me
Yeah.
to travel with the team, just like two coaches. I think that's where I got a lot of my independence.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons now I love to travel by myself, and I'm very comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's really cool when and it says that, like, from what you were saying there, is there's the experience of being involved in the sport itself and what that means, but it's the additional things that come from being in sport, and one of them obviously being travel, but then the things that it's enabled you, or that it's enabled you to be more independent, shall I say, and think that you can travel and do those things. So there's so much more that comes out from participating and being involved in sport than just the sport itself, which is really
Oh my
cool.
God. Yeah. It's the being able to work as a team.
Yeah.
Volleyball is a team sport. It's not an individual. So it's not about you standing out. It's about building each other up, using our strengths to cover someone else's weaknesses, or they're covering our weaknesses. It's
Yeah.
a team sport. So learning how to collaborate with other people and just do your best.
Yeah.
And if we lost, you're not pointing finger at anyone, because we lost, not one
Yes.
person lost. So I think, that's why, like, having children in sports growing up, I think it builds characters in so
Definitely.
many different ways. So I'm glad you highlighted that.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, thanks. I know, thanks for sharing that as well. So to get back to what you do, and say that what is the most important thing, as you say, is like relieving people from pain. How did you then so you studied it obviously, and got your degree in it. How did you then come about to think, or when did you come about to actually, I'm going to do this as essentially as my life and career? What was the point, or when was the point you did that?
For me, it never was if I'm going to do it. It was how I'm going to do it,
Okay.
because I don't think I always say I don't make a good employee. I'm always, yes, when I started working after my massage school, I make fun. I was working at the chiropractor's office, $8 an hour. And when I got a raise, $10 an hour, I was like, I'm making good money, you know? And then when I got my first private client, I was $23 an hour. I can make so much money. This is
Yeah.
amazing. So it always was to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Never was a question of, am I going to do it? And I've never had, no, at the time when I had my business advisor, he's like, Ani, just concentrating on pain, you're leaving a lot of money on a table. You should be doing more like a relaxing also. But I hate that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about the making the money. It was, no, I want to be known just, if you have pain, you go see Ani.
Okay.
If you want a relaxing massage, there's tons of spas you can go. I'm not a spa. This is
Yeah.
like a medical thing. You have pain,
Yeah.
you come, you see me. And I was just fortunate enough throughout the years, come across some amazing doctors, practitioners who just dedicated their life to creating some unique techniques. And I just learned from them.
Cool.
And so even now, doing this almost 30 years, sometimes people come to me and they're like, "Oh, what are these techniques?" And I tell them, I'm not that smart. They're not my techniques. I was just fortunate enough to learn for some amazing people, but they're so unique that, and unfortunately, they're not as known,
Mm.
even though practitioners have been around for a long time teaching. So people, even the clients, that travel around the world, get body work done from different parts of the world, they're like, I've never experienced these techniques.
Wow.
So it makes me feel like so unique and cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
it's
But I,
awesome.
yeah, but I love the fact that even as you say at that when you started out and you were really going, no, I want to be the person who's known for around if they're in pain, they come and see Arnie. Versus when you say even back then that the person, that business mentor or coach was saying, oh yeah, but if you only focus on that, the phrase he said was leaving money on the table. But I love the fact, and I think this is really important for people to hear, is the fact that you're like, no, it's almost like I'll leave that money on the table. That's fine because this is who I am. I am the person that gets the people out of their pain. You knew I'm not a spa. I'm not the sort of the relaxing type massage. There's a place for that. That's not me. To have that sort of self-awareness and self-belief and kind of go, no, I'm going to be exactly to me who I am. I think it's really powerful because it, as you say, it enables people to know exactly who you are, but you know who you are. You're not kind of the other side of it is you go, oh, I'll do every type of massage. In some ways, you're just selling yourself. You're not being you in that regard. Does that make sense?
It does. One of the things, and I don't know, it's just me, but I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. I don't believe you doing something just for the money. Unless, now I can say that because I'm single. I don't have dependents that I
Sure.
had to provide.
Sure.
So I think that gave me the freedom, the opportunity to do whatever I wanted to do. But
Sure.
I've always thought that if I'm not happy doing what I do, I can't imagine doing that every day. I
Yeah.
used to work 7 days a week, see clients, 7, 8 clients sometimes a day. And it was awesome. It was fun, you know. And sometimes hearing my sister complain about her boss and bringing home, work home on the weekends and hating it, I'm like, your boss is like playing golf or doing this, and you're like complaining, and I can't imagine doing that. So my thing was, even if I make little money, I'm gonna learn how to live with that little money, but I'm gonna be happy doing what I love to do.
Yeah.
So
Love it. No, I know, I absolutely love it. I'm so glad you kind of said it again the way you did it because it really does resonate with me, and I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people out there. So after you said you've been doing it for 30 years, um,
almost.
almost 30 years, which is amazing, incredible. And you've experienced lots of different, learned from lots of different people as well. What would you say then has changed over those 30 years in some, is there anything that's you say that's significantly changed in maybe initially instead of techniques and things that you've learned?
Well, what has changed? I think it's me. I'm so grateful. Just before COVID happened, December of 2019, I closed my clinic and I decided to just move across the street, rent a room from a doctor's office so I can see clients 3 days a week only. And I want to, at the point that, you know, you either grow, there is no stagnation. You cannot stay stagnant.
Yeah.
So the growth for me was, now I want to go more online. I want to teach. I want to
Cool.
speak. I want to speak to a lot more people than when I'm doing with one-on-one with the clients. I still love the hands-on working with clients,
Yep.
but some of the other stuff I do, like genetic testing and analysis, functional nutrition, I can do that online and educate people and empower people with
Yes.
self-help techniques, which I can do online. And my passion is traveling. Like, I would love to come to Ireland 2 months, rent an apartment, and hop on a train and go to those different countries and take a pasta cooking class in Italy, in Tuscany, or go beer testing in Ireland,
Yeah.
bar hopping, or doing these things and still be able to work and teach and
Yes.
educate people.
Yes.
That's my passion. That's how I want, and my next stage is. That's the
Cool.
path I'm taking.
Love it. And when I love that, I love the fact that you kind of go, you were like, no, I'm kind of what you said before, in a sense of following how you want to be and how you want to be happy. So in this sort of change or slight transition in what you're doing now. So when you're talking about educating, because you said it earlier on, and I'm glad you brought it up, to empower people, to educate people. So what now are the biggest things that, when you're sort of trying to talk to people or educate them, what are the big things that you're telling people or trying to educate them about now?
Well, I kind of have these two things that when I do online, I know that if they follow the specific techniques, they feel the results right away. One of them is neck pain.
Mm.
Neck pain, that's where my online course is. And that's one of the things, because I like doing interactive. So if I'm doing a workshop, it's walking you through a specific techniques and for you to see the results right away. And
Wow.
then these techniques. So let's say you or someone, family member or a friend, has complaints of neck pain, and you just walk them through those techniques. They are simple but very powerful techniques. That is so awesome. Like, I got one day, like a few months ago, I woke up and I had an email from a client who says that her son woke her up early, like middle of the night, or it was early in the morning, with neck pain. And she's like, I remember the few of the techniques you were teaching me. And I walked him through, and she goes, it worked. I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, that's like, oh my God, this is what I want. Or nowadays, I'm sure you see that too, cannabis being legal
Yep.
everywhere. But so many young people like using it daily. Well, not long ago, I did a educational, like a workshop I was asked to do. It was online, but they're
Yep.
a nonprofit cannabis education company in Montreal. They asked me to speak about why some people have the therapeutic benefits of cannabis and
Okay.
some can have adverse reactions.
Yeah.
This is based on their genetics.
Okay.
Because I know my example, that's how I actually opened my talk, because my example was I tried smoking once, I puked for 2 hours. One time I was at the client's house, and after being there for a little over 3 hours, his girlfriend was smoking outside. I got contact high and I went into paranoia.
Oh,
And
geez.
you should have heard the conversation I was having with myself as I'm driving home. Complete paranoia. First, I had to stop by at the local grocery store and got a big bag of Doritos. As I'm eating these Doritos, I'm driving home and I'm talking. I'm like, if the cops stop me, what am I going to tell them? They don't know me. They don't know I don't do drugs. It's going to be so embarrassing. Oh my God. What am I going to tell my clients? I'm going to be get arrested. I'm like, well, my ex-husband is a federal officer and he lives close by. We have a decent relationship. He'll vouch for me. They have to believe him. He's not, I'm having this whole conversation with myself as I'm driving home. And then when I did my genetic testing, I saw that I have specific genes that I should stay away from
Yeah.
cannabis because my body does not do well with cannabis. So
Wow.
just educating people, that's my
Yeah.
other thing. I'm not telling don't use it because it has amazing therapeutic benefits for the
Yes.
right person.
Yes.
but educating, just giving you more awareness so you can make informed decision. That's what I
Yes.
love about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And I suppose it's in a sense of education as well. Stories do really help educate, and that story is a brilliant example of to reaffirm, in a sense, what you're trying to tell people, that sometimes it may not be the best thing to do because of your makeup. And this is the thing, is that you've mentioned a few times, in sense of genetics, in a sense of and using it now. That must be, I'm assuming, a more relatively new thing that you've got into.
well, it's been the last few years,
Yeah.
one time as a functional nutritionist, I attend to a lot of like webinars, seminars. And one time I was at this webinar and they had a guest speaker, this doctor. At the time she lived in South Africa, and she was analyzing right at the webinar. The webinar's host a genetic report. And after hearing, I was like, I want to study that. That is
Okay.
so cool.
Yeah.
Just knowing, what I love about genetics is you do only once, you test
Yep.
only once. It's the genes you got from your parents. But there is so many aha moments of how your body responds to your environment. Like when I did my final exam was based on, I had to analyze my own genetic report. And there was this so many aha moments of, that makes so much sense. Even though I've been an athlete all my life, but I've always gained weight very easy and lost very difficult
Yeah.
to lose it. Or why, when I eat food, it takes me longer to feel satisfied. So I should be eating very slow, even though I'm very fast eater.
Yes.
So things like that, or it explained why every sport I played, I was good at it, because genetically I have the genes to have the baseline is very strong.
Yeah.
And then I have the good power genes and good, I used to be a trail racer, obstacle course races. I've
Okay.
done
Yeah.
like 25K trail races,
Cool.
kilometer trail races, and I recovered very fast. But all
Yes.
that shows genetically.
Yes.
So it makes, you create this personalized plan for your life, based on your genes, which, your genes are not your destiny. It's not like if you have
Yes.
certain genes, it's going to cause any diseases. But knowing it, it gives you the power to make changes in your lifestyle so those certain genes don't express themselves.
Yeah.
That's
And
the whole beauty of it.
yeah, absolutely. So I would then be thinking, then, are you then using that sort of education that you've got then, and now, as well as part of your, when you're working with people, are you then bringing that in to help your clients as well?
Yes, because genetically sometimes you can be prone to having more, let's say, knee injuries or Achilles
Okay.
tendon injuries, shoulder injuries,
Yeah. Yeah.
soft tissue injuries.
Yes.
So knowing that, we can make sure that what sports would be the best for you, or instead of exercising 5 days a week, you should be giving a little break,
Yeah.
exercise, or what type of exercise. Let's say interval training, maybe it's best for you, but not sprinting or not trail running.
Yeah.
It's just we can personalize it really,
Yes.
really deeply based on your genes. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. I'd say as well, and it would it then would it enable you to sort of dig a little deeper if someone was getting like a recurring injury, if if they couldn't figure, oh, this keeps happening to me, does it give you that insight?
Yes, it does, because it will show me, let's say you lose bone mass faster because let's say the food you eat, your body, because of your genes, it doesn't convert your breakdown bone faster than your body rebuilds it.
Okay.
So that way, okay, then you're going to be probably doing strength training more than cardiovascular training would be
Yes.
best for you,
Yes.
lifting weights, and
Yep.
maybe using more, let's say, food that is higher in vitamin D or calcium building, the foods that are, higher in calcium. So your body doesn't break down the bone then make you more prone to injuries or
Yeah.
like ligament tears and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it gives
Yeah.
me the insights of it.
Yeah. Because it from obviously from you talking now as well, and I don't know if this is something that's has always been or has it's changed throughout your career, but there's obviously an element that you studied was in sort of the medical muscular, the massage, and obviously kinesiology. So it's kind of like someone would come to you maybe in pain, and you're trying to work with the body to kind of relieve them of that. And I'm sure you still do that, but it very much sounds like you're now almost trying to prevent them even getting into pain in some ways by what you're trying to educate them. So is part of what you're trying to do a bit of both to relieve them of the pain, but also give them the tools, the technique, the education to stop them even going into pain or prevent it from happening in the first place.
Exactly. One of the things is I try to encourage my clients to keep maintenance,
Yes.
which means, like see me either once a month or once every couple of months. Let me check your whole body, and then I can release whatever, I feel tight that you're not aware of it yet.
Yep.
That way you can keep your quality of life. You're not in pain. Instead, like some clients, they see me only when they're like, oh, I've been in pain for 2 weeks. I thought it will go away. I'm like, I wish you would have come 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
because I could have probably taken care of that pain in one session, instead of now I have to do maybe 2 or 3 sessions
Yeah.
to take care of that pain. So yeah, I always think that's one of the reasons I always encourage my clients maintenance, and also know some self-help techniques. So when something happens, you can take care of it, prevent it. It's not the same as seeing your practitioner,
Yeah.
but at least, if you do it regularly, it prevents you. Like I have a client, when I taught her how to release her jaw, because every time she would be in a stressful situation, then her jaw will tighten up, would also make her neck tight. And
Mm.
she says, Anish goes, since I learned that technique, I use it and my jaw doesn't get tight anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, she's going to come see me less, but I love that. That's the
Yeah.
whole idea of, imagine how many people she's going to tell about me.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think as well, just I'm sure it is, but I'd just love to know as well. So when you're obviously working with people, your clients as such, you're not necessarily only now working with athletes, it's working with people from all walks of life, I'm guessing, is
Oh,
it?
definitely. Yeah. I mean, living in Los Angeles, I get all kinds. I get athletes, I get wonderful moms, lots of
Mm.
business owners, industry people like Hollywood, excuse me, Hollywood industry people. Yeah, people that all kinds,
Yeah.
there is no,
Because I think,
sometimes, someone could be my client who's Oscar winning uh, person, let's say
yeah,
producer, or it's a cleaning lady. Doesn't
yeah,
matter. Pain
yeah,
is pain. The
yeah,
body doesn't choose it.
yeah. Well, because what I was, the reason I asked that question, I think, and to the reason I'll explain with the reason I ask it is like, I had a bit of a previous a time where I did personal training for a couple of years, part time, and there's an element of when people, it's when we think of doing something, whether it be getting physically active or into a sport or something, or like what you're doing, we're trying to relieve people's pain. As you say, it's to make your life feel better, make your lifestyle feel better. And it could be for someone that if you see someone's into their own sort of sporting, it could be to complete a sporting event. But for another person, it could be, I just want to be able to go to the shops in comfort. I want to be able to get out of a chair without being in pain, or go up the stairs, or things like, it's sometimes people think, oh, but my reasons for doing it are too small or don't mean enough. Whereas actually, no, those quality of life things are the most important things we really need to focus on. And no, as you say, no one should be in pain from doing the simple things, because it really, really will affect them. So it's kind of like you're enabling people to really live their lives in the most simple and pleasurable way, I would think.
I love that you brought that up, because yes, when you're in pain, you just want to get rid of pain. But, it's so interesting. And I love this because the motivation getting out of pain, it's very short, because
Yeah.
if your pain was 10 and I bring it down to 2, your motivation goes away.
Yeah.
But if your motivation is like, I just had a client who was going to Europe for, I think she was going to be gone for a month. And her whole goal was to be able to walk, because we Americans, we drive everywhere, even a block we drive. But when I go to Europe, I do walk 5, 6, maybe sometimes 10 miles a day.
Yeah.
So her whole goal was, I want to be able to walk when I'm in Europe. And she was going to several countries. That's a goal that you're moving towards it.
Yeah.
You're not moving, pain, you're moving away from pain.
Yeah.
And as soon as your pain is gone or lowered, your motivation goes away. But
Yeah.
when your motivation is doing something, like you said, it's larger, either running, being able to run with your grandchildren and
Yeah.
go play that tennis or play that golf without pain, or go to Europe and walk.
Yeah.
That's a goal that you're moving towards to. And that's a motivation that stays around much longer.
Yeah. Well, I think it's even the fact that you would even discuss that with your clients is really powerful, because it takes it to another level versus, well, actually, oh yeah, I could relieve your pain. But the fact that you kind of like, it sounds like you try and get that bit more information to go, well, actually, what is the real goal here? What is it you want to be able to do? Because for you as a person trying to help them, the more information you have of what they want to get out of it, the more you're going to be able to, one, help them in that moment, but then you say educate them for when they're doing whatever it is. So that lady who's going walking around Europe, I'm sure she's at times where she's maybe walked all day and in a bit of pain, she's remembering, oh, that's what Ani said to do when I feel this or know this, and when I have to stop and that. So it's enabling them to fulfill whatever their goal is.
Exactly. And I do ask the clients when they come and they say, I have pain this. My question is, what is it preventing you from doing? Because I know I'm going to use that later, as their motivation.
Yeah.
What is it preventing you?
Yeah. One of the questions you might be able to answer, I find interesting, is the fact that obviously you've been doing it for 30 years. Would you say there is a difference now in the sort of the people that are coming to you? Has there been a change in the sort of either injuries or pain, or is there something in the sort of the modern day we live? The fact that we're maybe more sedentary, we're not doing as much, we have more technology to do stuff. Is there any real difference in, you think, in your career that you've seen from changing overall lifestyle?
I'm going to say not much, because the type of clients I see,
Sure.
the type of clients I see, they're more aware or more open-minded, they're more willing to put the time in for their health. It's not about just give me medicine, I just want to be done with it. No, these are people more, eating healthy, having the quality of life. They want to be actively living and traveling well into their 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
I've always had those type of clients.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that much of a change, like the clients that I see. And I've had clients that have been with me over 20 years.
Yeah. And I really appreciate the answer, because sometimes I think we can get sort of caught up in the headlines, thinking that, but I think sometimes you say people have been in pain for a long time, and sometimes we can think, oh no, because we go with the headline, oh, we're everyone is lazier nowadays, or these sort of throw out things. It's kind of like, maybe it isn't. It is just a thing that people are saying to try and highlight something. But the fact that you say, well, actually, no, the people who you've worked with over the years are the same people. The same things are coming up, but all you're trying to do is help them relieve that pain. One of the other things you said earlier as well, though, was in relation to nutrition as well. So as much as so it very does sound like as well this you're doing a whole sort of trying to think of them a whole person as well. Not just necessarily looking at it from okay, this is the things you could do physically. Do you also work with clients in relation to nutrition as well then?
Yes, and one of the reasons I got into nutrition, because, as a medical massage practitioner, sometimes you see client that has joint pain or muscle
Yeah.
pain, but okay, what's the root cause of the pain?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but sometimes the root cause of someone's pain could be because they have digestive issues or
Yeah.
because they're constipated, and
Yeah.
that can manifest to pain in different parts of the body. So if you come to see me and you say, well, let's say my back or my thigh hurts, but I haven't gone to the bathroom in 2 weeks. Well, you know what? Let's address that first, because that's just your body pain. It's a manifestation of something a little deeper.
Yeah.
And it happened several times that I had to let go of the client because I'm like, you need to go take care of this first, and then
Yeah.
you come back to me, because what I'm doing, it's going to help you for, let's say, a few hours for one day,
Yeah.
but your pain is going to come back. But if you go see these other practitioners,
Mm.
they're going to take care of this thing. Then you come back to me, your pain will be gone.
Yeah.
But, and I lost them. I lost them
Yeah.
as clients, which is okay. But I feel right. I feel okay in my
Yeah.
conscience that I don't want to just take your money,
Yeah.
you know, but I want you to get better. And if you
Yeah.
don't think you don't want to do that, it's okay with me. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to have you as a client because I just don't feel right doing that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really uh an empowering thing to hear, because I think one of the things, all the things we've been chatting about over the last 45 minutes or so is like, the way you said the first story, you said, well, I'm not going to do the sort of spa type massage because that doesn't feel right for me. I leave that money. The example you just said there, that screams to me in a sense of integrity in yourself, in a sense of, so this is maybe it's slightly a tangent, but it's brought me into it. Did you ever, over the time, have you ever thought about like your own values, or and what, how you want to be, or is that something you've ever sort of really contemplated, or is it just something of who you are?
I think it's just kind of, one of the things I hear from like my friends and clients, they say, Ani, you're real. I cannot BS. If I
Yeah.
don't like you, unfortunately, I don't like you, because I'm just very straightforward.
Love it.
And sometimes it can get me in trouble,
Sure.
but I'm a very straightforward person.
Yeah.
And I just say it the way it is.
Sure.
Sometimes I have to bite my tongue,
Sure.
but I just say it the way it is. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Some
But
people like it and some don't.
sure. But I think and I think there was, like you say, that the example you just gave there about the people, it's like, well, actually, I could just give you a massage here now, and it'll relieve the pain for an hour or two, but it's actually not going to help you. And then I'm sure you're kind of like, because in your head you're like, but I want to relieve you of the pain. It's not going to relieve you of the pain long term, and it may help you for today or tomorrow. So you kind of like, well, actually, as you say, you're not going to BS them. You kind of go, well, actually, what I can do isn't going to help. So you need to go see someone else, because otherwise you'd be like, well, you come back to me and I'll see you 3 days a week then, because you're just going to be.
Well, that's so funny. There's one specific client, and there is two side of it. There's a little selfish side in it for me also,
Sure.
because yes, I want them to get better only if they want to, because you can make someone do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
But the selfish side of it is, they're going to complain to their friends and family that they're in
Yeah.
pain, and they're going to say, yeah, but you're going to see Ani. Well, Ani doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And there goes my name.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. No,
because that's the whole thing. I built my whole practice on word of mouth.
sure. Yeah.
And if you say you've been seeing me for months or whatever, and I don't take care of your pain, what does that say about me?
Yeah. It's really,
So
no, I think it's a really valid lesson for people to hear, in a sense of like, you know, there's times when you have to say no for the bigger picture, and your reputation as the person who helps relieve people's pain has to be, you have to keep that, and it's intact. And but it's not, as you say, it's not like you're saying, um telling them just to get out. You're like, no, go see this person. You're referring them on to someone else who can help them, but you, as what you do, is still intact. And I think that's a really important message for people who are maybe thinking of going into or trying to doing a business, and think, are like, don't say yes to everyone because you think, oh, that's the, because it's, you think, oh, it's just money. Think about the long term of what that, could be. Have you really solved their problem? Because you say, like, that's example you gave, it's like, no, you didn't solve the problem. And as you say, soon gets out, well, Jesus, she's I've been going for weeks and she's not done anything. So it's a really valuable lesson in that, I think.
Yeah, it's so funny. At the beginning of my career, when I was talking to business advisors, and he's like, "Who's your client? What your client looks like?" What do you mean, what my client looks like? I do massage. Everyone needs a massage. They're like, no, they don't. Not everyone. Now, years later, I'm like, when I talk to massage therapists, young massage therapists, they're like, massage is awesome. Everyone needs a massage.
Yeah,
Who is your client? Be really clear. Who's your client? Who you want to work with? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, real valuable lesson. um One of the things I like to ask anyone who comes on the podcast is in relation to quotes. I'm a big fan of, I think they can be quite powerful. So are there any quotes that are important to you?
One of my favorite quotes is, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Yeah.
It's Haruki Murakami. I
Yes,
think
yes. Yep.
Haruki Murakami. I absolutely love that quote because, yeah, throughout our lives, we always have, it's inevitable. It's
Yeah.
some things we do, we get pain, but suffering is optional.
Yeah.
Some people, they don't want to get better because they use that as a crutch,
Yeah.
to get attention, to get whatever. And it's a choice.
Yeah.
That's one of
Absolutely.
my favorite quotes.
Yeah. No, I love that one. It is, and I think it works. One, in a sense of what you're doing, in a sense of relieving people from that physical pain, absolutely, because you can definitely get that sort of. I think I heard the term. I don't know if you've heard. It's like this secondary gain. So it's like, oh, I'm the one with the bad leg. So it's like people are know, well, this thing about, you say, a crutch or it's a thing, but they're choosing to carry it on. And then the other side of it is there is also that idea of a personal pain or sort of emotional or mental pain. Is like there's still that element of, well, actually, again, it's not to say that at times we won't go through that, but you say how long you choose to go through something, that's different. And choosing to suffer, yeah, love is really, really good quote, and thanks for sharing that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Would you say there is any, or do you have any people that you say have influenced over your career or life, whether it be private or in the public eye?
Oh, big time. I mean, oh my God. I'm so grateful to some of my teachers, the mentors that took me under their wings and taught me the skills,
Yeah.
like John Ine is like, I went to Canada to study with Dr. O, who's European. I think his real name Olaf, but he goes by Dr. O. And Dr. Rasturchininov, who's an MD but teaches medical massage. The guy is brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had some amazing teachers, Dr. 𝘼𝙤𝙤�ซุ้𝙤, who's in genetics. It's a constant learning. I mean, sometimes I say, I wish I didn't have to work so I could just take classes. I can just
Yeah.
learn, travel around the world and just learn
Yeah.
from different people. One of my favorites, I went to south of France to learn from this one. They produce essential oils and the therapeutic essential oils, and it
Mm.
was an amazing trip in Bellegarde. I went and spent some time to learn about their products and
Yeah.
how to use them in a therapeutic setting. So yeah, I just love learning. I'm
Yeah.
like one of those forever student types.
Yeah. I think absolutely, and I totally agree with you on that. The be able to continue to learn and ask people. One thing I was like, when you've sort of gone to learn from these people, And this is, I see if my experience is the same as yours. When I have engaged with people, whether it be someone that I look up to or someone I want to learn from, there can be sometimes people can have this fear of like asking for help or asking, to do something. When I've ever done that and gone to people and asked people, they've been so generous with their time and experience. Is that what you've experienced as well? When you've gone to these people, most of the people are really helpful and they want to help you.
Yes, they are. Actually, it took me a while to, and sometimes I say, a lot of us, we get on our own way. It
Yeah.
was my Armenian pride and the ego sometimes. Like I
Yeah.
can tell them, show them like I don't know or I need help. But overcoming that stuff is like, no, you know what? I need help. And I'm okay with asking. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or sometimes when my clients ask me something, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look that up because I do not know.
Yeah.
Or like I'll ask, even until now, sometimes when I get difficult cases, I may email to Dr. 𝘼𝙤𝙤 and say, look, I have this case. I would love your input. And he replies. He
Yeah.
sends message, he replies to my email and gives me helpful suggestions. So
Yeah.
yeah. When you
It's
ask, it depends how you ask. I think
yeah.
it's people most of the time, yes, they do want to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Um, Annie, it's been amazing to chat to you and learn so much from you. I just give you a little bit before we might ask my last question is like, when we were talking, the very first talking, you say about the type of medical massage that you've done over the years versus the sort of spa perspective. I've never gone for a spa massage, but I have gone for many of a medical type of massage over the years because of I would be into endurance sports, so marathons and triathlons and stuff. So that maintenance side of stuff. And again, it would have been where I live in Dublin when I've gone to experience it. It is, and I remember the chap that I went to, for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but you remind me of him because his whole thing was about wanting to relieve people of pain. He would tell me so much information about, oh, you should do this exercise at home, do this thing, make sure you're doing these things. These things will help you from going on. And he was again a life learner. I've been learning from this person. I've been learning this technique. So I think it's wonderful what you've done. You reminded me of him, and it's that experience I had. So I can only imagine the clients that work with you, because you reminded me of the experience I had with someone similar. And the other thing I'd say and if anyone has never gone for medical massage, over in Ireland, they call it deep tissue therapy or deep tissue massage. It's pretty much the same thing. It's well worth going because it is completely a transformative thing to go, and it really does help in my experience for going for it.
And actually, medical massage, they have a deep tissue could be part of
Part of
it,
it.
but there's
Okay.
so many variety of techniques
Yeah.
that encompasses medical massage. It's the techniques are very similar to regular massage. We all
Yeah.
do the effleurage and whatever, the tapping and
Yes.
percussion and all those things. But the difference in medical massage is the sequence of the techniques,
Right.
the time of that specific technique you use, and you already know exact the outcome you're expecting. And
Right.
that's what I love about it. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
really cool. It's fun.
Absolutely. As I say, it's been wonderful to chat to you. I have one more question for you though, which is what's important for your future?
Oh, like I said, I'm walking into this new chapter that really
Yeah.
excites me, at the same time scares me, because
Sure.
I want to do like more speaking, more teaching, and maybe even writing a book and
Awesome.
travel and teach. Either teach, regular public, like teach you self-help techniques, or even practitioners to
Yeah.
teach them to look at their career and embrace what they're doing, the path they chose. It's it just excites me. Like I said,
Yeah.
sometimes it scares me. I have these butterflies because it's something new.
Sure.
But at the same time, it really excites me because I know what's coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know, I think you'll be awesome. I think that the experience, but just the passion you have for it, I think you'll be amazing at it. I want to make sure that people will know how to find you and support you in this next phase of your, your journey. So we'll make sure any links are in the show notes. But if you want to give a shout out now where people can follow and connect with you online, go ahead.
Yeah, my website, it's really easy. It's last stop for, it's a numeric for pain.com. Last, like I'm your last stop for pain.
Awesome.
And in there, you can book a complimentary session with me, or I have some free resources you can download. And any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out any way I can help.
Awesome stuff. As I said, that link is shared in the notes, so make sure you click on his website and say take avail of all the free stuff she has and tips and that, and get in contact. Once again, Ani, thank you so much for chatting to me today.
Thanks, James. You're fantastic, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome.